Here.
Yep, I got it.
Cool. Well, let's get it going. Good morning, everybody. Tuesday morning, our Freedom Team Get More Transactions training. We do this every week. If you are a guest with us, or even watching this online from a different company, welcome. This is open every week to all agents, all companies, anywhere. It's not an EXP thing. Most of us here are going to be from EXP. We do this, multiple times a week here with Freedom Team. It's a group of about, 2,700 agents now, all across the country, all 50 states, 8 countries around the world, and growing like crazy. So anyway, of course, EXP providing so much value with what they're doing, but we like doing this as well. We can interact a little more. If you can turn on your camera, please do so. The more you can participate, the better. We totally appreciate it. Just focus in on us, and whatever. It's going to be good here today. So Michael Higdon back in Kentucky. Down there, I always like watching the Kentucky Derby. When that comes around, Michael's always going after it there. But anyway, it's good to have you, Mike. I appreciate you doing this. How long you been with EXP now, Mike?
5 years with EXP, 20 years in the business total, and it's making that move. I was going to talk about that. Remax for 15 years, and it was a great move, to one of the best moves I've ever made in my life coming over here.
Yeah, for sure. Good deal. Well, it's good to have you. I appreciate you leading this. We're getting some of the biggest agents in EXP to, kind of lead these, but the more participation, the better. So if you have questions along the way, guys, put them in the chat. We will, probably along the way, Mike, however you want to do it. If you want to open it up for questions along the way, we can do that. But
Sure.
The more interaction, the better sometimes with these, but at the end, definitely we'll get your questions answered. So we do appreciate being here. And Mike, I appreciate you doing this. So take it away, man. Tell your story and get us going.
Absolutely. Let me share my screen here real quick if I can. Tell me if you can see it.
There you go. We got it.
All right, slideshow here. Maximizing the power of your database. There's a page turner of a title, right? That's hot, but hopefully we'll throw some fire on it. And as Jeff was saying, that's me. I'm EXP Realty here in Louisville, Kentucky, licensed 20 years, 15 years with Remax Hall of Fame agent. That in a quarter will get you a cup of coffee. And I think I burned all of my plaques that I got from them because it was made a really nice bonfire. And I realized that all I was getting was a piece of wood from them. And I got a lot more from EXP in the last 5 years, including 3 times an ICON agent. And so not going to burn anything there. A little bit about me and personal side. My wife, Kelly, she's a radio personality here locally, morning drive time. We've been married 17 years. I have a son, Jacob. He's 13. He's my little basketball player. Daughter, Ava, 11, princess and cheerleader. And then the stars of our house are Poppy and Piper, our two pugs. And Kelly, my wife, posts on them probably more than she does me. So I'm feeling third place a lot of times in the house. But so an old mentor of mine once said, when you meet with people and you sit down with someone, Jeff, if I gave you a penny and you gave me a penny back, we're each just going to have a penny, right? But if I share a new idea with you and you share a new idea with me, we're each going to have 2 brand new ideas that we didn't have before. And that's what I think of these meetings as, is a sharing of ideas. So I didn't invent all this stuff. This is just some of my experiences with my database, some of my systems that I'm going to share with you, such that you can take that new idea, take that value, and either incorporate it into your business, or if it's something that you already do, which a lot of the stuff some of the professionals on here have done over the years as well. Hopefully I can just glean some new practices and give it to you so that you can have value of that and put it into your practice as well. So with that being said, let me move some stuff around here so I can see my screen a little bit better. There we go. So a recent study showed that 88% of all homeowners surveyed said that they would use their real estate agent again if they bought or sold a home. However, only 12% of homeowners actually did that. And the big question is why? Well, shame on you. After the sale, most agents never call their clients back, which is just it's just called normal in this business, and there's several reasons for that. Have you ever been Here's an interesting question. Have you ever been on the MLS or social media and see a friend or acquaintance or even a family member list and sell their home with another agent? Anybody other than me and anybody other than everyone in attendance right now, right? Big question is, how does that make you feel? You feel like, my gosh, what did I do? You're like, and you want to cuss them, but it's not their fault. It's your fault for not staying in contact with your clients. And it's just called normal. And the real money is in everything with your database. It's in the systems you implement and the consistency by which you implement them. We can have the greatest systems in place, throughout our entire business, but if we're not implementing those on a regular basis, regular meaning daily, weekly, monthly, and if you're not constantly improving and following those systems, then you're going to have those pockets, those holes. You're going to have those clients that you're going to see go out and buy other properties with you, sell other properties without you, because you didn't follow a system, you didn't show up, and you weren't making the contacts you needed to make on a daily basis. To that end, when it comes to your database, and Jeff, if I go too fast, or if you have any questions, or if anybody has any questions in the chat, please feel free to stop me and we'll jump down that rabbit hole. But 50 to 60% of your business should be coming from your database. If it's higher than that, let's say if it's 80, 90%, that just means you don't have enough other legs on your production table. And that's kind of the analogy I've used throughout my career. If you've got a table with only one leg on it, that's really not going to be a very strong, balanced table, is it? If you have two, maybe, it's still, you're kind of teetering on that. 3 legs, that's a stable table, but it can still get even better. If you have a leg or a table with, 4 or 5 legs on it that's going to hold that table, meaning your business up, the stronger your business is going to be. Now, the biggest leg on that table should be your database. And if it's any lower than that, then you should really look at your business and say, okay, what am I not doing to have that production for my clients? Or is my database big enough? Am I really going through and adding all the people that I maybe know, like, or trust? And that's what I'm saying here. You should be calling them because they like you, they trust you, they want to work with you if you would just give them a call. Question is, why don't we call? Well, our mind gets in the way a lot of times, saying they don't want to hear from me, or I don't want to bother them, or they just bought a house 6 months ago. Surely they wouldn't need me to do anything with them in the next 6 months. They wouldn't have any family members that would do anything in the next 6 months. Or really good one is, I'll just call them in another 6 months to make sure that I'm not bothering them. Who's ever used those lines? This should be the easiest call of your day, but oftentimes it's the last one that agents make. And the question is why? I went through some great training with a good friend of mine, Matthew Ferry. He's the son of Mike Ferry, and he has what's called the drunk monkey training. You can imagine if you had a drunk monkey running around inside your head, what kind of awful things it would say to you. Or some people say you've got that devil sitting on your shoulder. I love the analogy of a drunk monkey that's sitting there telling you, you can't do that. Don't call them. They're going to hang up on you. You don't need to make those calls. Just go out and play on your social media. Do anything other than what you're supposed to be doing, and everything's going to be fine. If you let a drunk monkey run around too long, the place is just going to be crazy. It's going to be, your whole house is going to be a mess. And that's sometimes what our brain does, is it allows that drunk monkey to go crazy. So how many newbies do we have on this call? Meaning anyone less than a year in the industry.
Put it in the chat, guys, if you want. Less than a year in the business.
There's one.
A couple coming in here.
Great. Well, to anyone, and I asked that question because a lot of people don't know, or they forget who they may know in the industry. And this is a great sheet that I give to people. That's it's free off the Mike Ferry website. So if you're just starting building out your database, the first thing I do is, one, have a database. Start to build that database, and we'll get into some CRMs and different things here later. But this is a great memory jogger to go through, to remember people that are in your sphere of influence. Who do you use that A to Z, go through these and say, who do I know? And the practice that they recommend is do it 3 or 4 times. Just go through the first time really quickly and say, oh, I know John, he's my banker. Julie, she cuts my hair. Oh, my son's coach on the baseball team is Marty. I forgot to put him in my database. Well, when you start going through that, you'll come up with about 100 names. You go through the second time, you'll end up with about probably 150, almost 200 names. And by the time you're done through that, if you have some age on you, if you're a little bit older, but go through your parents. If you're younger and new in the industry, because they know you, they like you, they trust you, and it'll give you a chance to call them. But you'll create probably a database of around 200 to 250, maybe 300 people that will give you a great start. Just going through all these, and I recommend doing this several times a year, maybe each quarter. Just say, who am I forgetting? I'm still guilty of this. I'm still forgetting to put folks in here. I thought about this last night. My daughter had a swim meet. I'm like, you know what? I'm looking around, and I've got all these people that I know that I don't have in my database yet. So I'm constantly doing that. My son's basketball team, I don't have his coach, his new coach, his AAU coach in my database yet. They're young. They're going to be buying houses. Perfect people to put on there. So if you're looking for this, again, it's on the Mike Ferry website under resources, or I've got a copy on my desktop here. Be happy to email that out to anyone as a great tool to help you to build that out. Now you're like, okay, great. Once I start building this out, what can I do with it? You can always use an Excel spreadsheet to start everything out, just to put in there, who the names are and get you started. There's plenty of great platforms. KV Core is one I highly recommend because we get it for free as an agent with the EXP, and you also get a website, and it's a very robust site as well. I also use Follow Up Boss just because it has a few more tools and things, but I use KV Core and Follow Up Boss kind of in cooperation with each other. I've used Top Producer in the past, and I've got some friends that use Lion Desk. Again, this is not a solicitation or a recommendation to use those, but these are some of the best in the industry. And they do work, but you got to find the one that works best for you, because the best software out there, as the old adage says, is the one that you actually use. So in terms of frequency I'm sorry, guys. There we go. In terms of frequency in communicating with your database, you should make it a goal to call or communicate to your database at least 4 times a year. Now, here's an easy way to achieve that one of my coaches broke down for me. Is that we have 26 letters in the alphabet. Okay, we have 13 weeks, my typo there, in a quarter. So you divide that 26 by 13, and that means you're going to be calling 2 letters of the alphabet every single quarter. So at the beginning of the year, get out your calendar or wherever we are that year. January is probably the best place to start because that's where we start each year. And go through and say, week 1, I'm going to call all my A's and B's this week. Week 2, C's and D's, and just go out and plan that out every single week. And by the time you get to the end of the quarter, January, February, March, end of March, you will have called every single one. Now let's say, okay, I'm calling Monday through Friday this week. Those are the 5 days I'm going to prospect. If you do it on Saturday, then divide by 6. But let's say I have, out of my A's and B's, I have basically 40 names, whether that's Anderson, Andrews, Baker, whatever. Divide that by the 5 days you're going to be working. That means you're calling 8 people that day in your database. That's a very simple way to break it down. And when I'm calling them, what am I going to say to these folks? One of the main reasons folks don't call their database is because they don't know what to say. Just a quick script, and you can find scripts anywhere to call your database, but it's like, good afternoon, John. Good afternoon, Jeff. Hey, this is Michael Higdon with eXp Realty. Hey, this is a quick business call. Do you have just a moment for me, and so I can give you a quick market status update? You're saying, okay, a quick call, meaning you're not going to be on there too long. You don't want to get on there for 20 minutes because that's going to eat up your day. And just give them a quick, hey, right now we're looking at just over 1,500 active properties on the market. Our pendings are 2,200, which we're outpacing the active. So that means we're still in a very strong seller's market. Would you know anyone that's looking to take advantage as a seller of this market? So you're asking them for the business. Who do you know that's looking to sell their property right now? And after you establish that business question, then you can dive into the personal stuff. And the acronym that a lot of people use is the FORD, which stands for the family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. The family, great. I appreciate you thinking about that. By the way, how's the family doing? You know, how's little John? How's little Betty doing? Perfect. Did you start that new job, or how are things with the job? Are you guys still building that plant out there off 65? Perfect. Recreation. You guys taking any vacations this year? I know you all mentioned you were going to Italy later this year. Is that still in the plans? And dreams. Hey, just real quick, what does the future goals and dreams look like for you and the wife? Is there anything I can help you do to achieve that? And once you get through that, what do you want to do is, I got this from my previous job before selling real estate. I was selling telecommunications, and our CEO, he was big on letter writing. So he gave us an assignment every single day. He says, you have to write 5 personal notes every single day to someone of business. Well, that means you have to talk to someone. We had to talk to 5 people first, and he would come by and check every single day. Did you write your 5 letters? Well, no. Okay, well, then you've got 10 tomorrow. Did you write your letters? No. So at the end of the week, if you didn't write your 5 letters, you had 25 letters and 25 phone calls to make. And he would follow up on that. But what that did is it made you call people, it made you have communication with them, and they would remember you and they would receive that business card. So after each conversation, send them a personal note. I got these off of Amazon. They've got doors on them, you know, real estate theme. They're blank. And what do you say? Hey, thanks so much, Jeff, for taking the time to talk with me the other day. It's exciting to hear about yours and the wife's trips to Italy. Please keep me in mind for anyone you know that's looking to buy or sell real estate. Talk to you next quarter. How many of us out there like getting personal notes, birthday cards, things like that? How often do you get a personal note this day and time? It's not very often. It's a lost practice that not a lot of people do. So, I mean, it's a very small thing. It's just a small amount of time. Try to send 8 of these out every single day. I promise you, they're going to remember this. They're going to put your card on the refrigerator. This is and then after you do that, track your conversations. Track your conversations. Know your numbers for young people. This is a tracker that I've created that I'll email this out to anyone that wants a copy of it. And every single day I've got my tracker right in front of me of who I'm calling. And I go by the lowest hanging fruit. I'm not trying to delineate from database here, but the database is a big part of this. So I'm calling my expireds, my cancels. It's a real quick conversation because we don't have a lot of those right now. Then I'm moving on to any Fast Expert, HomeLight, KV Core leads that I've worked with, effective agents, some of the areas that I'm working for sell by owners. Then I'll move on to lead follow-up, leads that I've talked in the past, just listed, just solds. And I'm calling my past clients, sphere of influence, and estates. These are one right after the other. And I'm doing all these in the morning so that my morning schedule tells me, okay, here's what you've got to do today. But if you do this every single day, remember we talked about systems and consistency. If you do this every single day, talk to that many people, or just call your database, there is no way you can't not be successful if you follow that. Meaning if you do this, you will be successful just by taking that action. And when you're setting up your database, the things that you want to keep in there are, of course, your names, address, your phone numbers, your emails. Ask for birthdays, ask for anniversaries, write down home anniversaries. If you sold a property to someone, you want to have that home anniversary because you can use that as some great social content. You can use that as an excuse to call them. You can say, hey, happy anniversary. I'm just thinking about you guys. I can't believe you made it 5 years. Happy home anniversary. You made it to your first home anniversary. Great. Let's celebrate that. Get their kids' names. You want to include their kids because if you remember their kids' names and send them a note or a happy birthday card, they're going to remember you forever on that. A great tool is called Forewarn. Forewarn.com. You can get on there. I think we have it free through our board of realtors. I think it's free nationwide through the board of realtors, but it's a great system to use to find your clients' phone numbers. I think it does emails, but just their addresses if you can't use that. But it's a great way to find them if you're not sure of their emails and addresses. So company names, and what profession they use. Why would we want to know what company our clients work for, or if they're a business owner? Jeff, can you think of anything why we want to know that?
What company? Say it again. Company names, where they work.
Why would you want to know if they're a business owner?
Oh, heck yeah, because then they've got all kinds of people.
Well, not only that, do we have a commercial branch in EXP?
Very true. Yeah.
Could we sell? Great. Hey, you guys looking to move your business anytime? That turns to a total different conversation. You know, are you a growing business? Are you all downsizing? Are you downsizing? Is there anything? I didn't know if you know this, Jeff, but we do commercial. Is there anything we can help you with on the commercial side? So
really
there's
good.
so many ways that can go, but yeah, start really drilling down on your clients and know everything you can about them.
Can I make a quick comment, Michael?
Yeah, please jump in.
So I don't forget about it, because it just spurred me. Yeah, and again, all the years of doing this, 21 years for myself and these phone calls, and I always make these kind of notes. And you made reference to this. You know, if, I don't know, you're on a phone call with one of those clients, and they mention how whatever, you know, their son, you know, fell and, you know, broke his collarbone, you know, playing, you know, football out in the yard with the neighbor boys, whatever. And, you know, make a note of that. And next time you call, it might be 4 months later, you're making that call. Hey, real quick, you know what, in that conversation, you're catching up with them, but hey, real quick, before I forget about you, how's your son's collarbone doing? Did that heal up okay? I mean, just that little thing like that. And the fact that they think you remember that, it's in your notes, because you got notes on all these people. Like, just that little thing right there can just set you apart. You become their realtor for life. You know what I mean? And they're just, it becomes more, they realize you care about them in that sense. You know, those little notes, you know, the mother-in-law, you know, who's in the hospital for something. It's just, you know, the vacation that they, you know, were hoping to do but couldn't do, but we're trying to get one rescheduled maybe for later this year. You know, to bring that up again. Hey, I know you weren't able to do that trip before. You know, were you ever able to get another trip in? And it's just those little notes that you make can add so much when you're calling them back that second time.
Jeff's still in my sauce. You're still in my later slides.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, keep going. I'll shut up.
But no, those are. I'm glad I'm not the only one that thinks about that. But absolutely, because it gives you an excuse and substance. And then when you're talking to him again, keep recording what you're talking about. And we're going to talk about the value of that CRM here later. But you know, another thing that we do to stay in front of them is I'll still send out mailers. Now I don't do it as much as I did not because of expense, but a lot of people just will throw it into the recycling. But I've found value in football schedules, basketball schedules. I know I'll do a combined. We're in Kentucky Wildcat and University of Louisville Cardinal country, so I'll do a combined football schedule. I'll do I'm supposed to have my basketball schedule up there, but I put that up there twice. I'll put a football and basketball schedule up there for the season. So come, you know, end of July, I'm sending out my football schedules. And guess what? It gives you an excuse to call them and talk about, hey, did you get the new schedule? It's brutal this year. What do you think the Cats are going to do against, you know, Florida? What do you think the Cards are going to do against Clemson? How do you think they're going to fare with that? And again, another subject to talk about. At the end of the year, I send out magnetic calendars. I thought about not doing that one year, and then somebody called me and said, hey, when are you sending out your calendars? They're on their refrigerator every year, and I'll go to clients' houses. There sits my calendar every year, and they're looking at it. And they're cheap. It's really not a big outlay. Another thing I use this is called Homebot. So did I put that in the wrong spot? I'm sorry. So this is, and I recommend once you have any closings that you put your clients on what's called Homebot. It's not free, but you can partner up with your lender to help take care of some of the costs. But this allows them, it's like a Zestimate, but it's way better. It shows them, and you can track this. It shows a 30-day performance of what their home values are. And you can see whether they're going up. You can see how many times they're going on there. It'll email you the frequency if one of your database is getting on there. So if you see that somebody's getting on there a lot, you can give them a call and say, hey, Chris, I noticed you've been checking out our Homebot a lot more the past month. Has anything changed for you guys? Are you looking to take advantage of this market? Well, yeah, Michael, we really see that the prices have gone up and we want to, take advantage of that and be able to sell our house. We never thought we'd be able to get 334. and say, you know what, would it be worth getting together just so we can, take a closer snapshot from an MLS standpoint and see if that's the true value on that? Would 15, 20 minutes this week be valuable to you guys? Yeah, why don't you come on out? Let's do that. And then you set an appointment from that. This is a snapshot from Follow Up Boss. It's the one that I use. So as Jeff was mentioning, when I have a call with someone, I go into my notes and I take a picture of all the things that we've talked about. And it'll keep a full history of all the things that you talked about in the past. I know this is one of my clients, Bob and Denise. I've sold them several houses. He's talking about buying a winery and doing like a half a winery and half of an RV park. And so he's asking me, he said, can you help me find about 200 acres of land? I've got some investors that we could probably spend like $4 million on this. Why, yes, Bob, I can help you find a $4 million piece of land and help you, get involved with that. So that's something that's going on right now. Another thing I use is BombBomb. So let's say we'll go back here. So when I take a new listing and I change that from just a client to new listing, what happens is it sends out a pre-recorded BombBomb video that says, hey, Bob, thank you so much for choosing Higdon Home Team to work with you again. And we look forward. Here's what's going to happen in the process. Now, just a quick, probably 60-second video on me pre-recorded. It's actually not the individual's name. It's all vanilla. Hey, thanks for working with us. Once that happens, I use a system called AM Cards. This is all pre-set up. What it does is it sends out a card and it sends out a candle. Okay, and it says, let's set the market on fire with your great new listing. Thanks for allowing the Higdon Home Team to work with you. So that's, as soon as it switches over to that, bam, they get that within a couple of days of the listing going active. Now, what would you think of that if that showed up? Again, it's a $20 candle, maybe cost me $30 total with shipping and everything. If that showed up, not only the video, but also a candle in front of you.
Good.
Then once it goes under contract, another video is sent out from them that's pre-recorded. Hey, we're under contract right now. We're so excited to be able to get this property under contract for you. Here's what's going to happen next. They're going to do inspections. We may have a repair request that happens here. Then there's going to be an appraisal to make sure that the value of the contract is established. And then after that, we're going to head to closing. So I just want to let you know, if you have any questions, be sure to reach back out to us. Because how many times do we have clients that are, I don't know the process, or I haven't spelled out the process every single way, or what's going to happen next? If you can beat them to the punch, if you can go back through of all your contracts and write down the questions, the most common questions that your clients have had from every single part of that, and send a video out or send an email out addressing, here's what's going to happen. And at the end of it, if you realize that you didn't have one single question from your database about that whole transaction, you're doing a really good job. So you want to try to answer the question before the question comes up. Then once it goes under the contract, guess what? Another thing goes out to them. It's more towards the closing. Once we have a clear to close or we're headed towards closing, isn't it sweet to be headed to closing? Then a batch of brownies shows up from the Higdon Home Team. Again, probably a $20 thing to send out to them, but it arrives to them with our picture in front of the game. So they've got video, something in the mail, video, something in the mail. Then once we go to closing, another video goes out. Hey, we reached closing day. Here's what's going to happen. And they're also getting an email from my transaction coordinator just saying, here's all the things that you have to do. But they want to be able to put your face on every stamp that you're sending over to them. And guess what? After closing, I've partnered up. I use a small company from Etsy that this is like $100 to send to them. It's a 36 by 24 sign that they get a couple of weeks after closing. It's going to sit on their wall. I'll go into some of my clients and it has their middle initial name. So it's going to have the Morel family with a big M on it. And it's a big piece, beautiful piece of wood. Bless the food before us, the family beside us, and the love between us. Amen. And it's really nice to walk into some of my past clients' houses and see that sitting at the head of their dining room table.
Do you know the name of the company, Mike, that you use that that does that?
Oh man, what is the name of there?
Maybe you can find it and send it to
I'll
me.
find it.
I
Yes, and
can
I'm
put it in the
sorry.
notes
It
when we
doesn't.
post it. That's it. That's a great
Yeah,
idea. I like that.
yeah, but and there's a myriad of companies that do that sort of thing.
Sure.
But I've just found they're really quick on the response. They had personal touch. You can add a gift wrap to this. I'll gift wrap it with a really nice bow. It goes directly to their door. And I'll get people to send me a picture of it. It's just like, this is absolutely beautiful. Thank you for sending this. And it's so thoughtful. Um, some people it aligns with. I've had some, some big burly Harley Davidson type clients that it may not it may not match with or jive with. So again, you got to kind of read the room or read your clients on whether that's the sort of thing that they like, and maybe ask them, say, hey man, I like to give a closing gift or a thank you to someone. What do you got? What do you like? What do you jive with? This company, AM Cards, has you can find a litany of stuff on there to send out to them. But the best way to learn is ask, because they're not going to say, oh, you don't have to give me. Somebody might say, oh, you have to give me a card. But I think, a gift card, I'm going to send you $100 Visa card. That's kind of impersonal and just kind of the easy way to go. With this, it shows that you put some thought, you put some effort into it, and they're going to remember you and share that with their friends and family. So
Paul said he's a Harley guy and he loves that idea.
He loves that. All right.
Yes, there you go, Paul.
He's got a sensitive side too. I like that. So after closing, we have in our follow-up boss just some checklists on there. So I'll get a reminder saying, hey, it's been 7 days since the Morrell family closed on their property. Give them a call. So I'll give them a call and say, hey, just want to check in. Are you guys missing anything? Do you need anything from me? I didn't know if I shared with you, but being in the market for 20 years, I've got a great list of contractors that I've worked with over the years. Excuse me. Is there anything I can share with you? Do you need a roofer? Do you need a plumber? Is there anything that I can help you with fix up wise? Oh, and by the way, who do you know that's looking to buy or sell real estate? Then a 30-day follow-up. Hey, it's been 30 days since your closing. Just wanted to see how are things with the house. You guys settling in okay? You've been introduced to all the local shops if they're new to the area. Anything I can tell you about? If you tried Jeff Ruby's over here. It's a fantastic steakhouse. Just another reason to give them a call. And then a 90-day follow-up. Hey, it's 90 days. You've been in the home. We're going to add you to all of our systems, all of our emails. And then you're adding them into your quarterly rotation of your A, B's, and C's that we talked about before. And then you're going to add them to your the email newsletter. So, and then with that, it's always good anytime you can add video market updates, whether that's a generalized version of that, just saying, hey, here's what our Greater Louisville Association of Realtors says that we're down 40% from transactions last year. However, we're still seeing strong, the low inventory is still showing that the buyers are still in the area. And I mentioned Ricky Caruth on here. I'll shoot over to that slide. I don't know if anybody's heard of Ricky, but he's very prominent in EXP now. And he has a great system called Zero to Diamond. Within that, he teaches you how to build out your own kind of free newsletter via Constant Contact. Constant Contact is really cheap, but he shows you exactly how to, he'll give you the outline of it. Then you just drop your own information in there. And I've used that before and it's pretty good. The other thing that I'm doing with my clients right now that I'm having some pretty good success with comes from Jeff, and I'm sure Jeff stole it from somebody, but the video, the home anniversary dates, and that's where you find, I guess, the oldest one in your database that's been in their house the longest. Pick one of those out every single day or once a week, whatever you want to do. And Jeff, you want to tell them more about that? I think because you covered that before.
Yeah, no, and I did. I stole it. I mean, I've seen this online and started using it. I know Aaron Ken uses it. He did a kind of a good breakdown training on it in his listing process, but he'll do 3, 4, 5 a day, and just random. Just like the home anniversary day is a great day to do that for past clients, but you could also pull people out of your database. And once you get in the habit of doing it, honestly, you can do one in about anywhere from 5 to 7 minutes, per CMA. It's very quick. You're looking up the comps for that neighborhood, pendings and solds, I always use Google Earth to start with because it just gets their attention. So you type in their address and then you just go on like Zoom and you record it. You record a quick video,
Yeah.
and hey, hey, Joe and Sue, Jeff Morrell here. Hope you guys are doing great. Just want to give you a quick market update. You've already hit the button on the Google Earth, so it's coming in, from space and down into their neighborhood and right up to their house, and the way Google Earth does it, which gets their attention. And then just, click the next tab that's open on your computer, which has those pendings and solds, and just give them a quick update. And you're not soliciting them for any, you're not asking them about if they're ready to sell their house or nothing like that, but by just doing that and then putting it out there, hey, if you think this would be helpful for anybody, be sure to let me know. I'm happy to send one of these to them as well. Just want to keep you up on the market, what's going on. A lot of people wondering what's happening with their home prices and home evaluations these days, with the market being all over the board, headlines being all over the place. So hope this is helpful. Have a great rest of your week. And if I can help you in any way, let me know. We'll talk to you soon. And just end it. And just by doing that quick thing, it literally takes 3 to 5 minutes and you're done. But the open rate on that and the response rate, a lot of times I'll send them a text with just even like a picture from it. Hey, just want to make sure you got the email. Let me know if you have any questions. And you will get some good response from that, and referrals especially.
I have, and I've started using that, and it blows me away the response that I've had, because it's not hey, I'm just sending you a piece of paper, CMA. Here's what it is. You got to go through 20 pages to find out what I'm telling you. This is not interactive, but it's video. People are just responding more to video, and you're giving them value. That's what it is. You're giving them value. You're taking the time to say, I'm doing a one-on-one with you, just your house, and I'm sending this to you. I'm not asking you to move. I just want you to know that this is where you are market wise. If it's great, great. If not, I understand. And like you said, the best part is, if you know somebody else that would like to have this value, share them with me. I'd be happy to send and do the same thing. You could do these all day. And I think if you did, you could send 20 of them out and just say, hey, I was thinking of you about your house because you're in such a hot area. I've looked up, there's a subdivision here called Copperfield. I pulled up 40245, and I was looking in subdivisions that didn't have any active listings right now. And so I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what clients do I have in the Copperfield area? Because there's no, and I had a couple of them, and I did this, and I said, hey, I don't know if you knew this or not, and I'm not asking you to move, but right now you have zero competition in your subdivision, and you guys are, your days on market are 3 days on market. Your gains are this. So if you're considering moving, or any of your neighbors, it's a prime time for someone to move into the Copperfield neighborhood. So
it's the home anniversary thing is great because, again, the way prices have increased and values have increased the last few years, if they've been in for 3, 4, 5 years, and they're blown away sometimes when they see the value of their home, and it will stir some things up. But just even to do it, hey, a lot of people thinking about, home prices right now, the headlines being all over the place. And I just want to give you a quick update on your home, your neighborhood. Here's what's going on. Boom, you show it. It will stir up things, and it's not, and again, in most areas, most neighborhoods, it's just not as bad as what they think it is.
yeah.
The market's still good, because there's been so much equity gain the last few years. Maybe it's come down a little bit in some areas, but they're still pretty blown away by it. But to just do it, just without them asking for a CMA, but just to randomly do this 4 or 5 a day, get in that mode, you can get 3 of these done in 30 minutes easily.
Yeah,
Once you get in the mode of doing it. First one take you a little bit, but then it gets easier and easier, like anything. Quick, simple.
Yeah, and you're going to be calling them anyway with my system. So send them a card and say, hey, I hope you enjoyed the CMA. Yeah. So again, it's an excuse to get in front of them. And I mentioned Ricky's, this is a way to send an email out. So if you can, do something like that video with BombBomb and drop that link into not the Canva, but the Constant Contact email that you're going to be sending out to your entire database. He does this I say bi-monthly. He does one every single Wednesday. I think his goes out. So he's constantly sending this out, and he swears by his email marketing. Now, if you're on if you're an established agent and you've got some costs you can spend, there's another company called Viral Marketing that you pay them basically to interview you twice a month, and they'll put the videos together. They will scrub your database. They'll go on Facebook, pull every person you know off of Facebook, and create an entire database of every person that you know. They go on LinkedIn, they really pull everything, and they know the algorithm, and they'll kind of take this over for you. There's a monthly cost on it. It's not cheap, but I do know a lot of people that use it that are premier premium agents, and they get a lot of traction from this. So again, not a sell for them. I just know over the years that they've done a good job for some friends of mine. So that's kind of the top level down on my system and everything. And again, if anyone has any critiques or sharing of ideas, please jump in here.
It's awesome. So guys, there, if you want to write down Michael's number or any questions, email him. You can certainly do that. And then if you want to stop sharing your screen, Mike, we'll hit a couple things. Just throw this out. Any questions or comments? I want to hit a couple things real quick. We started doing this, and this is something I got from one of these Tuesday masterminds. I shared this morning in the tip of the day. There's a company called Reminder Media. We send out 100 of these. Our first one just went out. So it's good to be home. It's just a nice magazine glossy cover. We get the cover, we get the inside where you can customize like a letter, that goes out to the clients. We split it with, there you go, Kathy's got one. We split it with a lender, so they get the back cover. Okay. So this cost us about, I don't know, $100 total. We sent it out to about 100 people. It's going to go out every other month. And there's just great articles in there. We've already had a couple calls on this. You can get a digital version if you want to, send that out or even post it, different things you can do. One thing I want to mention, Mike, with the newsletter thing, and I'm going to share my screen here real quick because I want to show you guys this. If you haven't been in there, this is in the back office of Enterprise. If you're part of EXP, if you go into Enterprise and go to the Marketing Center, okay, and down in the Marketing Center, there's a place down there for newsletters. So there's a print version, there's a digital version. And again, when you go in here, you can, choose the design. I'll do this one here for digital. And then it's got these different templates. You put in your picture, your contact info, whatever. They're different ones. There's all different kinds here. You can look through, pick one that resonates with you. But there's 12 months of newsletters in here that you can automate and connect it up to your database and send these out. And this doesn't cost you anything. It's just included in here. You can see it. There's 12 newsletters here, these Market Watch newsletters, one for every month. And then you've got these, this real estate advisor thing. There's several of those, a template right there that you can create your own, put your own articles, different things in. But just know that that's there. If you've not been in the Marketing Center in Enterprise, they continue to update that and add new things. There's so much in there, from social media posts to all kinds of stuff that you can do, but a lot of stuff that you can customize and get out to your database as well. So just to add that in there. So anyway, comments, questions, thoughts, different things you guys are doing to, add value to your database, to be in touch with your database. David, would you mind unmuting yourself real quick? Icon over there in Bowling Green. How you doing, man? Good to see you.
Doing good.
Good. What kind of stuff are you doing as far as your database? I know you've been doing this for a few years now. Do you have things that you do on a regular basis in terms of just ways to keep up with that and keep yourself out there with them? Anything you're doing in particular?
This is actually one of the things that we've actually been putting a lot of effort into. We do the magazine, and we're also starting to go putting monthly, quarterly reminders in to have the agents go touch base with them and create touch points, and starting to try to make those a much more ritualistic type of meeting. We've been very successful in the point that we're very active in the community. So we've been getting the 20, 30 touch points that we need to get with them, but we're trying to make it a little bit more planned. This magazine has helped a lot. We've also started doing some other magazines that are independent. There's a couple that we have here that you can pay for an article in that looks very much like it, or pay for an ad that looks like an article. And so we've been complementing the two with those, and then starting to do some of the delivery services to tag those in them. So, like for our listing presentation, I think we have 5 or 6 touches that happen very, very, very quickly. Like we had one yesterday and we turned it into a listing, and it was, we left some stuff in their mailbox, then we left some stuff on their door. Then I followed up with a phone call, and it was 72 hours and turned it into a listing. But it was very intense, and we're starting to get that more planned. So it's not just a one hit, wonder. It's more of every listing is the same presentation.
It's good. Michael, you with
I
HomeBot.
have a question about
Go ahead,
that
Kathy.
AM cards. Is it kind of like send out cards? We can send cards and gifts. Is it similar to that?
Yes, it's almost exactly like send out cards, Kathy. That's just kind of the one that I hitch my wagon to, but I'm sure if you're using a send out card, it does the same type of thing. But yeah, AM cards is the one I use, and you drop an algorithm or drop the link. It works directly with Follow Up Boss.
Oh, nice. Like with send out cards, and I don't know if AM cards, but I love the candle idea that you said. You can customize things. So like, for instance, it'd be cool on that candle if you had a picture of their house and you're sending, whatever whatever that line was that you said, so I know in send out cards, you can, like I said, I take pictures and I put those on cards, but then I think on some of the gifts you can customize too. You can take pictures off of things, but that'd be kind of cool too, even just to, like I said, you're talking about getting their listing sold if they had, I like that line you used, but, and then I had a question. So if somebody on here is looking to sell, say 25 homes a year, what number do you use for conversion, right? So it's like you need to be touching people, you need to have 200 people, 400 people in your database. What conversion?
10%. 10%. You should have, if let's say, again, if you have 200 people in your database, you should expect 20 transactions from that. So the bigger you can build your database, that's why that trigger sheet really helps out so much to go through, because a lot of times we forget the people that we know and take that for granted. And some people are like, well, you think I should email them? Well, heck, guys, what do you have to lose by asking them for the business? Because I assure you, somebody else is going to be asking your database for the business. That's how we lose it. Jeff, not to change subject, but the name of that company that I use on Etsy is called Rustically Inspired. Rustically Inspired, and I'll put that in the chat as well.
Okay.
That's cool. One thing that I heard, I haven't started implementing this yet, but this was a few weeks ago that I heard this, that there was one guy, and I don't remember if he's with EXP, but instead of doing a closing gift, what he does is 30 days after closing, he just calls them up, says, I know, when you move into a house, there's always, a few little things that you find that we didn't see on inspection or whatever. And then he sends a handyman over there and lets them work 2 hours for free. And then
Wow.
6 months later, he has a relationship with that handyman. So he's probably paying him $100 or something, right? Or whatever. But 6 months later, he sends a limo to pick him up and take him to a restaurant of their choice and covers it all. And was that you? He was waving. Okay. I love that idea because first of all, you're going to get all kinds of social media press off of that, with your clients, right? If you picked them up in a limo 6 months later, and I don't know if that's on certain price points, but I heard that and I thought I'm actually considering implementing some of that. So just another thought. There's all kinds of creative ideas. And personally for me, I've been in the business a long time. Like, oh, he says I'm Uber, not limo yet. Personally, for me, I would much rather spend my marketing dollars on my database than just cold leads, trying to generate cold leads. Where, I think if people would spend all of their marketing dollars on their database and their past clients, they're going to have more business than they probably, are looking for. What are your thoughts on that, Michael? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that everyone in this day and time, agents like I said, they make the database the last person that they call because they're following either Zillow leads or The paid for leads, nothing wrong with that. If that's, you can make a lot of money doing that. And I know a lot of people spend a lot of money doing that, but I just think the bread and butter of this business is going to be the people that you know, like, and trust, because they do the same. They know, like, and trust you. So I just know at this point in my career, I'm more apt to call my database first and then move over to just listed, just sold calls and other other areas, because I'd rather do it organically rather than have to spend a fortune on chasing a lead that everyone else is getting, and that you're lining the pockets of a Zillow or something like that, where they're not as likely to do anything.
I did add into the chat that a link to the PDF. I went to Mike Ferry's website and found that PDF of that memory jogger. So that's in there, guys. If you want to grab that, you can. I went to Mike Ferry. You do need to put in, you need to register an account if you do it, but it's free. So I just did that while I was in there. A lot of good stuff in there. So, cool. How long have you been using HomeBot, Michael?
Probably 2.5 years with one of my lenders of choice. And it's really, I've gotten a lot of great feedback from clients. They say, man, I love that thing. And I forget that I send it to them, but it's just part of our checklist. Once we get done with a closing, hey, add them to HomeBot. Hey, add them to this. So that's where a good CRM, any one of them will do it, but have a list of things that you're supposed to do, at the beginning of the transaction, while the transaction is going, and after the transaction, that's going to add value. And as a reminder to you, and I think that's just one of the things, the more tentacles we can get into our clients and our client base and wrap them around them and keep them from having another tentacle steal them away from us, because it's going to happen. Even 20 years in the business, I will still have people, I'll see them sell a house or do whatever. It's just called normal, and it's going to happen. But our job is to try to entrench our names and our business into our database as much as possible.
Yeah, definitely. HomeBot's something I think everybody should be doing, especially if it's $50 a month. If you split it with a lender, $25 each.
$25 a month. Yeah,
it's a no-brainer. It's so cheap, and it does work well. You can put buyers in there. We put all our buyer leads. We automatically put our buyer leads that come in every day. We put those into HomeBot, and it's doing things with them as well. But there's a huge open rate on those emails, way more than the normal emails that go out. I mean, because you can track that on there. I mean, we get a 60-70% open rate on the emails with HomeBot. Really, really good. And like you said, some people get in there multiple times, monthly. And again, that's the person you pick up the phone.
Those are those are your analytical clients that just love the data.
Yeah, very true. So you remind me too, I haven't done this for a while. The football postcard. Yeah, I'm here in Colorado. The Broncos, of course, are just, it's like a religion out here. So yeah, it makes me think about that. I haven't done that for a while. I should start looking into that before the fall season comes in and put out another.
I mean, there's, again, I know a lot of people don't want to do that, but it's cheap. Again, put your face out there and it gives you a talk. For me, it's more about a talking point than the actual postcard.
Yeah. Well, and just to have it magnetic where it goes, because that's what happens. Everybody puts it on their fridge, it's just there. There's the schedule. So you're on their fridge for, 4, 5, 6.
I try to be on their fridge at least for a football and a basketball season, and then my calendar for the whole year. So I'm trying to find an excuse to stay in front of them, either physically or digitally, as much as I can.
Definitely.
Yeah. I used to do the calendars too, and I haven't done those. For a long time, and I haven't done these in years and years. I used to do the ones that you could literally write on. They were not very cheap, but people loved them. Because they could just hang them up and then they would make, notes on them. But I quit doing those years ago, honestly. But I love, I've seen over the years, a lot of people use the magnetic ones like you said, just to stay top of mind. I mean, because everybody knows 10 realtors, 5 realtors, right? Which is why the stats are what they are that you shared at the beginning. If we're not staying top of mind, they're going to forget about us. We like to think we, made such an impact on them and we made, have built such a relationship with them. But if we're not staying in touch with them, they're just going to forget. And they've met 3 new three new realtors by the time, you know, they're ready to move again.
Yeah. That's true.
That's good. Share what when we were before we got on here, Mike. Share that story. You found that one client, because I think there's just a good thing to point out here to people. The one that had you. You want to share that story real quick, because it happens to all of us.
It does. It was,
Yeah.
I was telling Jeff, I said, you know, I've got this slide, and this is literally a half hour before we're getting on this call. And I'm on Facebook, and I always post up all my closings on there so that they'll come up as an anniversary. And then I sold this one. It was a bad divorce last year, and I sold the house for them. And she was going to live in, she was moving back home with her dad. And I said, so what's the plans? Are you going to buy something again? She's like, I'm just going to hold off. I'm going to wait. And I called her, wished her a Merry Christmas, you know, checked in with her in the past spring. Hey, what's going on? Oh, nothing much. And then I just texted her again because the anniversary came up. I said, wow, this is crazy. This happened a year ago. She's like, yeah. And I just bought a new construction home, and I couldn't have done it without you. And I'm like, but you did just go buy that house without me. But it's okay, because it's my fault for not, and again, it could be she didn't know she could use a realtor to go buy a new home, but it's my fault for not staying in contact. But it happens to even 20-year veterans. So, you know, but what are you going to do? So I was like, wow, that's great. Congratulations. I'm so excited for you. What's your new address? Blah, blah, blah. And on the side, I'm like,
Dang it.
dang it.
It happens
You know,
every
I've often thought like to do a YouTube video. You know, we talk about YouTube all the time, but you do a YouTube video, why it's important to use a realtor when you're buying new construction. No, because I think the general public, they don't understand so much. And that's one component that they don't understand. Why do I need a realtor? The on-site agent can help me, but they don't understand the dynamics that they're working for the builder, blah, blah, blah. Like I have often thought, so it's a good reminder, Michael, for all of us that we should all create a YouTube video.
That's my next social media post, Kathy. Top 5 reasons on why you want to use a realtor to buy new construction.
That's right. Yep.
Everybody you work with from day one of walking in that office, they work for the builder. They represent the builder. They're on the builder side. You need somebody on your side. We had one time, I remember it was, you know, here it is. It's one of the walkthroughs, you know, coming up, you know, like the I don't know, month before closing, the schedule of walkthroughs and stuff. And I remember, like, you know, we always recommend that they do an inspection with, you know, an inspector, you know, our inspector or inspector that they pick, whatever, but an outside inspector. And I can't tell you, there was one, and I remember it was like, I mean, it was a major issue. We ended up having to get a different house. I mean, it was something I forget what it was, but it was something with the foundation. There was the water thing. And anyway, it was an issue, you know, to where they ended up moving on, and they would have never picked that up if they'd have just been working with the builders people the whole time, you know? I mean,
here's a story you can share on that, Michael. So this wasn't my client, but to that point, Jeff, there was a client bought a new construction. I don't know if they had a realtor or didn't have a realtor, bought a new construction home, did not do a home inspection, go to sell it, you know, but because people think it's new, it's under warranty, you know, blah, blah, blah. Go to sell it a few years later. The new buyer has a home inspection on their house, probably 5 years old, I think, at the time. The inspector goes in the crawl space, and here in Nashville, we have a lot of homes on crawl spaces, and that's where all the surprises are, you know, show up, because who crawls in the crawl space? The shower line in the master the inspector said was never properly connected. So every time for those 5+ years that those people took a shower, it was draining in the crawl space. So then there was then there was mold and all these other issues that came. Had they done an inspection when they bought the house brand new, that was an easy fix.
wow.
So, you know, that line story sell, or facts tell story sell, like, you know, sharing some of your stories, like what happened to you, a story like that, you know, when you're doing your video on, you know, why you want a realtor to represent you in new construction.
Yeah. There we go.
For sure. One quick thing, and then we'll wrap this up. But with Michael's situation, again, losing her, and it happens to all of us, no matter how good you follow up and all kinds of stuff. But one of the things, just a general rule of thumb, I think just good to follow. Whenever you're having these conversations with people, and especially if they are looking, yeah, we're thinking about maybe moving sometime next summer. I'm glad you called. It'd be good to be in touch here. Hey, when would be a good time for me to follow back with you? You always want to ask that question. When would be a good time for me to follow back with you? Well, call me in 6 months. Call them in 3. They'll never remember it, but put it in the notes that they said 6 months, and now you have it on your schedule for 3 months from now. And then you call them. Cut the time in half every time. And I had to learn that lesson. And again, it's not that it's foolproof, but it will help because again, life happens in job situations or family situations or health situations. And all of a sudden now you call them and, oh yeah, we moved 3 months ago, hey, sorry. So, whatever. And so that will help prevent some of that. Just a good thing to keep in the back of your mind. So anyway, I've got a 10 o'clock, which I'm already a minute late for. So I got to run, but Michael, thank you so much. And I appreciate it. It's always good. We appreciate your time putting that all together. Great stuff all the way through. So guys, the recording will be up in the next couple hours. If you want to watch this again, get all the details in there and all the things that Mike talked about. Have a great week. If we can help you at all, let us know.
Hang on 1 second. I got to run too. I got to call. But Friday at 3:00 Central Time, Brent Gove, Glenn Sanford, Jay Kinder, a couple are doing EXP State of the Union. It's going to be a Zoom. So you can go to expstateoftheunion.com. expstateoftheunion.com. Friday at 3 p.m. Central Time. Jump on. It'll be good information with Glenn Sanford, Brent Gove, and Jay Kinder and Michael Valdez.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. It's going to be good.
All right, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks a lot.
We'll see you. Thanks, Kate.
Bye.
Bye-bye.